What appears to be a risk to you, based on your current viewpoint, is not perceived as a risk from your higher self perspective. Moving from where you are now to where you want to be can often seem doubting when you're looking at life through the lens of fear, insecurity, or doubt. But deep inside, you also already know that for change to occur, you must be willing to take bold, creative risks. So what are bold, creative risks? Those are the things you also deep inside feel you have to do, but you're afraid, maybe too afraid of doing, because you are scared that your wanting outcome will not come to fruition if you don't control all the processes to the best of your abilities in order to truly, make them happen. But I want to remind you here to recognize at this point that you don't need to control anything outside of you. Just do what you know that is the most appropriate action at this moment. A cautious approach to life, has never truly satisfied anyone or helped anyone reach their fullest potential. So you need to trust this inner voice. You need to trust this part of you that is urging you towards greater things, to step up and take that leap of faith toward your dream. So many of you at this point are facing with these doubts, while at the same time the sense of moving on and really following this desire has never been as loud as it is today. And many of you are still somewhere in between, like being very well grounded and then losing the ground, losing a sense of stability. And most probably this jumping from stability to feeling completely shaken has never been so intense as it is right now. But it's also due to building up your ability to trust and to surrender to the process that is bigger than your ego's perspective. That is saying at this point that what you sense is just you making stuff up. Maybe even thinking you're going crazy for having these dreams, these intentions, because you've heard from people around you that you can't maybe make a living out of it, or that it will not work out, or that it's against the rules of, life. But also your intuition is saying if you ignore intuition, you will suffer. Your life will not be full. You will not feel aliveness, and all you want to do is to feel aliveness. Maybe sense of play, right? To experience a deeper connection. And all relationships seem meaningless if you don't have what we call a sense of purpose, right? And sometimes this, what we call purpose, is really pulling you away from things you always wanted. And then you experience even more doubts because it feels like it's not right. But I wanted to remind you to have a deep sense of trust, because maybe if your purpose, if your dream, if your desire is pulling you away from what you've desired in the past, maybe losing financial stability, maybe losing certain relationships, maybe losing any kind of material stability, and even mental health and all of that. Maybe all of that is being shaken a little bit because a new degree of yourself will grow through the cracks that have been created because you've been shaken. So, in other words, staying where you are would never satisfy you because you are meant to grow. And if you're meant to grow, then you shouldn't stay where you are. And it means that accepting what has been taken away is the greatest strength that can be awakened within you. Because as soon as you accept that certain things will fall apart, you will see that new things will take place and mystical will happen, and you will be surprised that no matter the circumstances, everything eventually worked out. And you already know that. You already know that things will work out. It's just this little you that's still playing tricks on you, but it has less and less power until it becomes completely disempowered, and due to you persevering in your intuition. And think about how liberating it feels when you really do what felt that you wanted to do. Just think about how it feels. Is it liberating? Is it playful? Is it joyful? Does it make you feel happier? Suddenly all the world problems just disappear. Lives of celebrities and who's famous and who's not and who won and who didn't just doesn't mean anything to you anymore, because you notice you truly are everything when you're doing what you love the most. You just become everything. You become this creative force that is giving life to whatever moves through you, and suddenly anything else it just doesn't matter. And I think one of the most liberating perceptions is to notice that most things don't matter. Most things don't matter. And many of you have experienced this so many times when you've devoted yourself to something that was really bigger than you, to something that brought you a sense of joy, play, flow. You've noticed that when you are doing it, you experience a state of consciousness that connects you to something higher. And in that state of consciousness, everything makes sense. And you get an idea, you know how to move through a challenge, you just know everything will work out, and interesting things happen to you. And more you are able to tap into the states, less you will be having a need to distract yourself, to indulge in destructive behaviors and habits. You will just naturally move yourself towards what connects you even more with life. And you will notice that your life will take you to a whole another dimension. Your journey will change a lot because you're already noticing the shift. The shift in how you feel, the shift in how you perceive life, the shift in how much more you perceive, the shift in how you're reading energy, also energy of others. You can easily notice now who's truthful, who's not, who's authentic, who's not, who has pure intentions and who doesn't. And when you have this filter of truth, then nothing can pull you away from your inner truth, right? So you just move on. You don't have this sense of guilt anymore, because you know that, well, so many people came to you with actually intentions to gain something from you. And they've pretended like they are your friends, or they've pretended they're your helpers or guides or whatever. but they just wanted something from you. Now you sense it, you feel it, and therefore you don't have a sense of guilt anymore if you're moving on. Sometimes truly people come to us and say to us, hey, you're doing it so well and all of that, just because they actually want something from us. Like, you know, I saw you're making so much money, and you know, I have a problem here, could you help me? And you notice that their kindness was actually just a filter so they could come to you and take something from you. And you're seeing this now, you're seeing through illusions. You're seeing also in social media, like so many people maybe pretending. So much of everything just don't resonate with you anymore. Noticing as everything is becoming more crowded, more poisoned. Out of everything you seek simplicity the most. And quietness resonates the most, right? Maybe you've even noticed that quietness is the greatest richness you need at this point. Out of quietness, life is being born. So, know that deep inside, you find it. And when it feels overwhelming, when your life becomes overwhelming, return back to that inner quietness. That will always give you a sense of support and protection. You will know that you're safe. And what arises out of it as an answer to your question, follow it. Because it will give you a sense of direction. And if there's more answers, sometimes it happens, like receiving more answers that can be different from one another, and you don't know then which one is the right one, return back to quietness and ask it for clarity. You don't need to rush with answers. You don't need to rush with taking action. Rather, organize these answers. And until they're clear, go back in and ask once again. Your higher self celebrates you the most when you are actually looking inward for guidance and are willing to sit with it until you know. Because in this quietness, the channel is pure and guidance can happen. So when you look around right now and you see a bunch of chaos, and you see many people lost, and you see crowdedness of information, of different energies, of everything that's going on, just remember that it has nothing to do with you. And you don't need to be affected by anything. Less you're affected by it, less you will see it, notice it. And you will notice that actually, if you want to be a part of the solution, just live in clarity. Because everything you do out of clarity will be clear. And the world, therefore, through you will experience things that are clear. Maybe messages, information, music, art, help, support, whatever is your thing, it will be clear. And when something is clear, it will help others to experience more clarity. It's like a pure water. When you drink it, you know it's clear. When a food, when you eat food that is pure, that is alive, that is rich with nutrients, you know that it's good for you. You feel it. Same is it with anything you produce. If it's done out of clarity, it will bring more clarity to the world. And therefore you're a part of the solution. So for some of you, it's hard to get to the point of clarity because it's hidden behind the chaos of emotions. These are all the energies, and your jar needs to be, you need to empty it. So to empty the jar, you need to feel what you feel and sit with it until it gets released. And when it gets released, tap into something higher. Like, what are the emotions you would love to feel more frequently? And tap into these frequencies, like how does it feel? And you get a sense of feeling it. Tune into it until you become it. And that's how you fill up the jar with new energy. And it changes the frequency of your body. And it starts producing changes in the field of your reality, where then you start experiencing all these synchronicities and numbers and signs and serendipities, and new people come to you. And suddenly you notice that everything was already taken care of, and you just needed to tap into this quietness to know that you already are what you've been seeking for. My friends, I will leave you here. I hope you found a valuable lesson today, a valuable message. And to anyone who found today's artwork interesting, inspiring, or you would like to have it at your home, you can go into our store, AttractPassion.com, and check out all of my art. If any of it resonates with you, well, maybe it has something to say too. Go and check it out. You can find it in different sizes. You can find prints of my art, some of my original paintings, AttractPassion.com. The link is also in the description of this video. Check it out, and till next time, one love.